How's it going, everybody out there? Today is a bit of a rough day. We're doing a stream about this, the current events that happened last night. Russian Deadpool from the Skeptic Feminist allegedly killed somebody. Allegedly, that's been reported in the newspapers, and there is some information coming out, and there's also at the same time a lot of people who are starting to make some interesting assumptions about what's happening, and they're also trying to politicize it. But there is information that we have available, and we want to start up a conversation that can actually be hopefully beneficial, at least not shitty, and talk about something that is something that doesn't get talked about nearly enough. So do you want to fill us in, Miss Anonymous?
Okay, so I've had an interesting day today. Early this morning, I was contacted by a friend of the victim, which is Ivy, that's been coming out, and he posted a screen cap of one of those articles where Russian Deadpool has been arrested on, I think it's second-degree murder charges, and at first I thought it was fake because I am fairly familiar with Russian Deadpool. We've streamed several times together. He's always been nothing but nice to me, and he actually helped me a lot when I went through cancer treatment. And so it was just a shock, right? And I sent it to Bane because Bane's also friends with him, and I started DMing with her friend, and he asked me to keep her identity private. So if anybody knows who she is, preferably don't spread her real name around. I know her online persona is already out there, but preferably keep her name out of it, at least until the news breaches it, because I don't think they all know yet. It just happened on Saturday.
Right.
So I was talking to her friend and asked him if he knew whether or not either one of them had violent streaks, like if they had domestic problems already in their relationship, and he said he never knew either one of them to be violent at all. And I asked a little bit more, and he said the only thing he could think of was that he had military PTSD. Russian Deadpool had military PTSD.
Right.
So it seems like, according to Athena, who was on the phone with him just before the shooting happened, that he had a psychotic breakdown. Now, we don't know why he had a psychotic breakdown. I'm not 100% sure it's connected to the PTSD, but I don't see any other reason why it wouldn't be, because
Right.
he never had violent tendencies before this. He was a little bit intense. I'm sure anybody that's watched him stream before, if he gets passionate about a subject, he tends to shout. But
Yeah,
that does not.
Very yelly, for sure.
Yeah, he does, but that doesn't make him a murderer. But I don't like. I've reached out to the Skeptic Feminists, and I haven't heard from either one of them. And I don't imagine I will, at least not for a little while.
Right. And what I think is and the reason, one of the reasons why I wanted to talk about this is because, and why I have kind of an open invitation for any of my YouTube friends who served in the war and had to come back from it, or had very close family members who had to deal with it post-war, is because at least this way, rather than just have this happen and then suppose about, at least we can have a constructive conversation about it.
Definitely.
Please, by all means.
I just want to voice something real quick. I don't have much time. I got to get back to work. I'm on break right now. If it's still going on in like an hour, I'll come back and just voice a little bit more. But the main problem that I think a lot of veterans face whenever they come back is that they are transitioning from a place that is so hellish in nature, fighting all the time. You've got very structured regulations on what you can and can't do. You go back to a society that's free, and you don't know how to cope. And we were talking about this the other day for a donation stream, and I really think you should talk to this guy, Optimus Christ. He was over there in the thick of it, as it were. He says that, and I agree with him on this point, I think the best case for a lot of veterans coming back is to get together with other veterans, and you don't need to like talk about what actually happened. You just need to talk to them, learn about them, talk to them. It helps them get through a lot of this emotional stuff. It helps them get through and cope with all the horrors of war and all the atrocities that they saw over there. And it really helps them a lot. Dealing with my parents are both prior military. Both of them had PTSD. My dad had Gulf War syndrome. And then I've had so many friends come back over here messed up from PTSD and stuff like that. It's a horrible thing to see whenever someone that like that has a mental break or something like that. I've had multiple friends kill themselves over PTSD breaks, and it's very sad. We have 22 veterans a day that die from it. But yeah, the best thing to do is talk it out. But Jeff, I want to thank you for having me on. I got to get back to work. Thanks so much.
Thanks for coming on, man. Yeah, somebody mentioned that even with PTSD, it's still a choice for somebody to commit a crime, and that's true. But like talking about the extenuating circumstances, the things that can change you enough that can break down your capacity to resist things that might set you off. It's everybody's different, and everybody's going to deal with it differently. My grandfather had severe PTSD, but for him it never became like a rage thing. It became more of like a fearful, but also kind of a peaceful thing. But he had episodes that were really hard to deal with sometimes.
Yeah, my grandfather, actually, he was in Korea, and he forged his ID at 16 to get into the military.
Mm-hmm.
And he had severe PTSD, and it took a long time he was very abusive to his children and his wife. Yeah. And it wasn't until much later in life that he actually gained control over it. There's some things that people don't think are actually real that happened in certain wars. He told me some stories about hiding under dead bodies to avoid capture. Like these things actually happen. Right. You have no idea what that'll do to you. And I don't know what Russian Deadpool's situation is.
I don't either.
With it, yeah. Right? But from what I'm hearing, when they took him in, he didn't even know where he was.
That's nuts. That's absolutely crazy. There was and some people are like, get Magog in. He's a vet. Magog has an invitation. I think he had to go to the store for a little bit, but he'll join us here in just a little bit. I have a really good friend of mine, and she is a combat veteran. She's a Marine, and she doesn't watch my channel, so I guess I can tell a little bit of her story. She was deployed. And she got into a situation where she had to shoot a 12-year-old boy who was bringing up an AK-47 to shoot at her and her unit. And she was the one who saw him first, and she shot him. She killed him. And what that one action did to her was insane. And keep in mind, like, this is one of the toughest women I've ever met in my life. She's a titan of a woman. She's so strong. She's so self-assured, but at least once a month, she would just completely fall apart. And it was crippling for her, absolutely crippling. And it led her to attempt suicide at least once. And it was a serious attempt. It was actually really serious, and she was thankfully saved. And she's getting help for it now. But I mean, trying to empathize and understand how horrible something is, such a deep emotional pain that, like, I could never understand that. I couldn't understand that even if I tried to. So it's strange. It's such a hard thing to think about. It's a hard thing to talk about, and I don't think we talk about it nearly enough.
No, we definitely don't. And like somebody in the chat brought up, like, childhood PTSD. It's a lot different. It affects you a lot differently than the violent PTSD you get from military service. It's different. everybody deals with PTSD different.
Somebody said most PTSD cases are bullshit. It does exist. Some of us get it, but real PTSD is not as prevalent as a lot of people make it out to be. It's probably drugs, not PTSD. You know, the thing is us doing the stream. The stream isn't really about what is his name? Alexander?
Yeah.
Yeah, its stream honestly isn't really about Alexander. It's it's because we're doing this stream because a lot of people are going to bring this into like identity politics or something, and I would rather talk about something that doesn't get talked about. That very well might have been the case. I'd rather use this as an opportunity for something constructive. What's up, Magog? Good to talk to you again, man.
Hello.
How you doing, buddy?
I am not going to do the voice considering the seriousness of this topic.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
I hope we're in agreement with that.
Yeah, that's fine. It's totally fine. But when we do get you on the Saints as a guest, we got to do the whole thing.
Oh yeah, I'll be in costume and everything. I'll be like, "What the fuck is up?" You know,
that'd be fucking great. Yeah, no, it's nuts. I was sharing the story of my my friend. She was a Marine in Iraq, and she ended up having to kill a kid who was trying to shoot at her unit, and it just like it messed her up bad.
Oh yeah. That happened actually quite a lot. My staff sergeant, when I was over there, he had to light up a car that made a rush for the gate. He was on a gate card, and he lit it up with a 50 cal, and there was a woman and 3 kids inside. But because she tried to run the barricade and try to force her way onto the base, he just reacted instantly. You know, because they could have had a bomb in the trunk or something. You know, and that was that. You know, and it fucked him up for years, and he probably still is pretty fucked up about it, you know.
You know, I'm just reading the chat a little bit, and some of the comments really emphasize how little this subject is discussed and how little people know about it.
Yeah, it's a unfortunate side effect of our society. And you know, in ancient times, you know, men probably didn't get as much PTSD, or what we would call PTSD, because they lived in a horrible fucking world, and from a young age they saw horrible shit.
Yeah.
But when you take a farm boy off the cornfields of Iowa and send him off to World War II, he's gonna fucking have a reaction.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know, and that is just the unfortunate nature of living in a Western society with a lot of privileges and peace. And you know, I mean, we have our problems here, but for the most part, people got it pretty good in America.
Absolutely. Yeah. I think there's and real quick before I mention this, if there is people that have experienced and dealt with PTSD and being in a combat zone and that sort of thing, by all means, please hit me up on Twitter if you want to come on and you want to talk about it. That's what we're doing. That's the whole point of the stream. I'm trying to remember specifically, and history buffs are probably going to scream at me because I misrepresented something fierce, but there was a rule with the Roman army when they would come back from war, before they were allowed to get into Rome, they would have to camp outside the walls of Rome. I don't remember for how long. It was like anywhere from 3 days to like a week. And the entire purpose of it was to have a moment of peace, but to only be with the people who had experienced it. And it was specifically to basically to decompress from war, and to be able to get all of those emotions out with, you know, your brothers, your fellow soldiers before you came into the city. Because,
right,
you know, if you're still in battle mode before you know, and I don't think for one, I think there's a problem with visibility when it comes to veterans in and of itself anyway. You know, look at how fucked the VA is and getting medical treatment and shit like that.
Oh yeah.
You know, we don't understand war anymore. We don't understand combat. Not as a people. Like it's
we barely do it anymore. Not on the same degree.
Ideologically, almost everybody in America is against war.
Yeah.
Well, it's just It's the very nature of war in and of itself. There's a great quote, and I can't remember who it's from, but the reason why war crimes are tried and everything, but there was an argument against war crimes. Obviously, genocide and things like that on innocent civilians is a crime. But this one general, he once said, all wars are crimes.
Yeah.
And that is in and of itself is an amazing, psychological evaluation, because we often see wars protested and hated against, and we didn't want to be there, but you always see respect for the troops. Not all the time. Vietnam was a pretty bad one. Troops come home, got spit on.
Yeah, that happened to my dad.
Yeah, got called baby killers and, stuff like that. But for the most part, Americans are still patriots,
Sure.
But the fact that you can walk into a store and somebody will shake your hand and tell you thank you for serving, but you can't get the right government assistance from the VA because it's such a fucked up system and it doesn't have the money and everything. It's really telling of how anti-war the country is on a systemic level, and that, the homeless veterans as well. And, I deal with the VA all the time because I was injured in Iraq.
Oh shit.
I'm a disabled vet.
Do you feel good? Do you mind if I ask?
I've told the story before on a stream. I don't suffer from PTSD. I have my moments. I'm still a little on edge around big crowds, and random loud noises like 4th of July comes around. I expect fireworks, but if somebody pops off a firework behind me, I'm going to freak the fuck out,
Yeah.
But outside of that, I don't flip out like some of the other guys, and I'm kind of thankful for that. But how I got injured is I launched my truck over a concrete barrier getting out of a kill zone in North Baghdad. We were taking small arms fire from rooftop.
Wow.
And they had laid a concrete barrier in the street to stop our convoy. And we were like, fuck that, we're going over it. We got to get out of the way so our gun trucks can flex up and cut these buildings in half with 50 cal, So, and that's exactly what happened. We got out of our gun trucks' way so they could flex up this tiny street and light it up, Yeah. And I was in a maintenance bob, so I didn't have a trailer on my truck. So I didn't have the weight. So I Dukes a hazard my truck over this concrete barrier and went up in the air. And when it landed, I bounced. I hit my head on the ceiling, compressed my spine, and blew a disc in my neck. C3 and C4 disc. So I have a blown disc in my neck, and they can't even fix it with surgery because it's too close to the spinal, the nerves. It's too high up on my neck,
Right.
So basically, I pop marine candy every day. And
no kidding.
Go about my day.
Can you guys? sorry, Magog.
How's it going,
can you guys hear me?
Yep, we can hear you.
Hi, Jeff. How you doing, brother?
I'm doing good, man. How are you?
Pretty good, bro.
Good. Yeah. Just trying to do something constructive in light of the crazy shit that happened last night. Have a conversation. Open up the platform, to talk about the shit that just doesn't get fucking talked about.
What happened? I didn't catch that.
Well, I
said, what happened last night? What's going on?
Allegedly, the Skeptic Feminist Russian Deadpool killed Ivy.
What?
Yeah, and from what's been reported by one of the other Skeptic Feminist women, is that he suffered a psychotic break from PTSD. That's what she's saying. So I decided, rather, because everybody's going to politicize it, everybody's going to make this, look at what misogyny can do, or look at what feminism can do, or some shit. I'm like, fuck that, dude. Let's just, whether it even was a psychotic break or not, people don't talk about PTSD, and fuck it. I got a platform. Let's talk about PTSD. Let's do it.
Well, I think people don't talk about the psychological aspects of human nature enough anyway.
Most people right now that I'm seeing have gone the route of, oh, this is just typical for male feminists to be psychos and creeps, but that's not the case here. He was sick and something set him off, and That's all we know right now. It was not politically driven. As far as I'm aware, they were happy. They didn't fight. I'm in contact with her friend, and he's telling me that, like I said, neither one of them are violent before this.
Mhm.
This was out of the blue. Everybody's in shock.
Yeah, but that's also very strange in and of itself, because
Yeah.
I've worked directly with a lot of military with PTSD. In fact, I have a lot of great friends who have PTSD as well. And nothing is ever out of the blue.
Yeah.
Nobody is ever just fine, walking around, happy-go-lucky, dandy, and then all of a sudden they're just like, bang, fucking kill everything. Like,
Right.
It's a build-up.
Exactly.
Yeah.
100%.
There has to be stressors in life. There has to be, there's always like signs like nightmares. There's always, antisocial behavior, things like that. And nobody goes from like pleasant human being to psychopath instantly unless they literally have like bipolar disorder or schizophrenia.
Well, I've actually mentioned this before to people, is that I thought he was bipolar. He goes from 0 to 10 in an instant. Like, I've streamed with him enough, all you got to do is strike the right nerve, and all of a sudden he's at 10.
Yeah, but even that's not telling of grabbing the gun and killing.
Yeah, I don't know. Like I said, I don't know, but I don't know what he is like off camera. Right. I don't know if she loved him. It's possible he was dealing with more than we know, and she wasn't telling her friend. But from what I'm getting is this is her closest friend. If he didn't hear about it, nobody else would have. Not like. Except maybe the other girls.
So where I grew up in Taos, New Mexico, Taos. You guys can look it up. Taos, New Mexico. We have the biggest Native American population that actually still hold on to their traditions. And I grew up with all these guys, and the thing is, like, people go nutty for no reason, and most of those guys that live on the Pueblo, right? Most of them were Vietnam veterans, so they have PTSD, or it was shell shock back in the 30s. Magog, was that what it was?
60s. Well, back in World War II, it was called shell shocked all the way up till the 60s.
Yeah. These guys have PTSD, and they were also the Taos Pueblo. They're the Tiwa Indians, right?
Mm-hmm.
And these guys, after the Navajo stopped using their language for the codes, right? After they stopped using language for their codes, it was the Tiwas that took over. And I suggest all you guys look it up. Taos, New Mexico, Native Americans.
Okay.
Some of those guys are completely like insane. You got to be careful how you talk to them. Because if you talk to them wrong, they will beat the hell out of you.
Yeah, there are things like that, but it's always an escalation. It always is. There has to be something that strikes a nerve, or there's always stressors that trigger it. That's where the word trigger comes from. That's why I've always had an ideological, problem with fucking SJWs using the word trigger all nilly-willy, They're like, oh, I'm so triggered.
That drives me mental.
It drives me fucking insane because a real trigger makes that shit,
Those people have never experienced a real trigger in their entire fucking lives.
Right.
But I think it should be fair to note to everyone listening and everybody who will listen after we've gone live, off air, that we're not mental health experts. We're not trying to play psychologist here. We're not trying to, assign any kind of blame or use any kind of, backdoor channels into what we think the human psyche is. But we are speaking of a particular issue that probably is not discussed as much. And we're just speaking basically on what we've heard so far, and we don't even know. It could have been anything. We weren't there. So we're not trying to, play psychologist or anything like that to stop the trolling. You're not going to stop the trolling. It's going to happen.
Yeah, the trolling is going to happen. And I mean, like, we're not even saying like an absolute, like, it was PTSD, but from what has been said from Ivy's friend, and also what's corroborated by Athena posting on their Facebook page is basically he had a break And you know, so we're just gonna try and use this as a good excuse to talk about something, you know.
Right.
Well, yeah,
Right.
there's nothing wrong with talking about it because some people actually deal with more shit than most of us do. Like me, I have anxiety like no other. I can barely go out in public.
I live in chronic pain for my injury, so that's why I'm an angry wizard on YouTube. That's what I do. I just vent. I'm just like, fuck everything. I hate it all. You know, and I'm like, oh, I feel better.
How much does the government actually help you? Just out of curiosity.
It depends on the situation. I have a friend of mine named David. I'm not going to give his last name, but he served in the Army and he suffers PTSD. He has applied for benefits 3 times and been rejected because PTSD is so hard to prove.
Right.
However, for me, they had medical records. They had MRI scans of my neck. You know, they could clearly see my fucking neck is broken. You know, so I got my disability in like 3 months. I had no problem. However, scheduling scheduling appointments, last time I got, you know, some pain that I hadn't had before, and I got worried, and I was like, God, I need to make sure I didn't break my fucking back again or something like that. And I scheduled an appointment. It took 3 weeks to see my doctor.
No.
By then the pain had gone, and I was like, well, that maybe it was just temporary, you know. But 3 weeks to see my primary care physician at the VA here at Fort Roots, and Fort Roots is one of the best VA hospitals in the country, right here in Arkansas. And it's still really hard to get in and see your doctor and to get help. So I do feel for a lot of people out there who are still trying to get their benefits, and they've been waiting years and years and years, you know.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Well, my grandfather, because he forged his ID and joined the military at 16, he wasn't actually supposed to be there. He went for years without any benefits because he was afraid to apply, thinking they would just deny him anyway. When he was in the military, he had a cannon dropped on him and it crushed both of his legs.
Holy shit.
He was in hospitals.
Ouch!
Well, he was in hospital tents all over Korea for a few years. Everybody thought he was dead. He actually has 2 separate plaques. The one from when he actually died and one from when they thought he was dead because he was in military hospitals for so long they lost track of him.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah,
I got to make a mention of this too, because I saw somebody posted about it in the chat. I'm not able to completely read the chat very often, guys, so forgive me. And I can't read the super chat, so don't super chat donate. You know, we're talking about PTSD, but we're not talking about like childhood abuse and that sort of thing. I'd rather specifically focus on like combat PTSD, military service PTSD, and I'd like to deal with like childhood PTSD in a different stream, just all for itself.
Yeah, it's definitely a separate issue.
I want to make sure, like when we have conversations like this, that you know we can give as much attention to each one as possible. So that's why, you know, it's no bashing on anybody who suffers from that.
Yeah. Now, am I the only one in the stream right now that served?
Sorry.
Am I the only one in the stream right now that has served overseas in combat? Sith?
I have never served, my friend. I'm sorry. No.
No, don't apologize. I was just asking, you know, who I'm talking to.
Hey, no worries, brother.
Yeah. You know, Anonymous, what about you? You serve, girl?
No.
Okay.
And I've been trying to get some more anybody who's watching, if you are a combat vet and you served, even if you yourself don't necessarily, you know, and if you have a very close loved one who was a combat vet and served, and you want to come on and talk about the experiences with PTSD or dealing with trying to get help for PTSD, by all means hit me up on Twitter, and we can just keep talking about it as long as everybody wants to.
Well, post-traumatic stress disorder, like I said, stems from going from one extreme thing to another almost instantly, and it breaks you. Like there's just something in your head that just, you know, the circuit just doesn't flip. Mm-hmm. You know, and that's a big one. Like a lot of the guys that I have seen with PTSD, they didn't join the military. They joined the military for school benefits or whatever. They weren't expecting to go to war. They were, you know, like farm boys or good old country boys, or they just want to get out of their town, or they didn't know what to do. And these guys ended up in like maintenance, or they ended up in supply. And then you got these hardcore, like, you know, Navy SEALs, SOG guys, you know, special ops group guys that are like, they hardly ever get PTSD because their training has built them for war.
Right.
Basically, dudes that ended up joining like Blackwater and so on and so forth.
Some did. I mean, you know,
Some,
it depends a lot on that. I have a very good friend of mine. He was in Army, and then he went to National Guard. But because of his specific training and his experience with combat, he was deployed. After he went into the National Guard, he was deployed again 5 more fucking times. After, on top of the initial 2 that he did with the Army, and he saw combat, direct combat, at least on 3 different of his 7 tours, and every time he'd come back, it would take him a few months to kind of get back to normal. You know, it wasn't easy for him. I remember I saw him. He came back and like he'd been back for 3 days back in society, and he's standing at the corner and he's smoking a cigarette at the bus station, and he's looking a little weird. I'm like, holy shit, you're back! What's up, man? I give him a big old hug, and he's like, yeah, I'm good. I just. You know, man, I can't stop looking inside every damn car that goes by. It's fucking with me. You know, I keep seeing people with guns in their laps and shit, and you know, it's little things like that.
Oh yeah, I suffer from obsessive compulsive disorder because of Iraq. I never was as obsessive as I am now with cleanliness and organization as I was until after I was back from Iraq, because I think it's a lot like PTSD in the way that the brain just triggers something. But instead with me, instead of flipping out and worrying about, you know, oh God, there's somebody outside, get the gun. And I have many, many guns, you know, I live in the South, and I am a shootist. I sports shootist. I love shooting, but I instead, my brain just went to this other area where it's like organization is key. I have to have control over my life. And that's just kind of a different side of it. A lot of guys come back, they don't have PTSD, they don't have nightmares or anything, but they will be like, don't move that. That's where it needs to be. Or they'll sit to their backs against a wall at a restaurant so they know where the exits are. You know, it's this kind of just obsessive compulsiveness. You know, to just remain in control of their surroundings and their life. And there is no such thing in that in life. And it's a huge battle in my mind, because the one side of my brain goes, yeah, do all this stuff to make sure you're secure and you're safe and you're organized and you have lists and you have things that you control about your life. And then the other side of my brain is like, there is no control. Life is shit. You know, shit happens sometimes. You can't control everybody on the road when you're driving. You can't control when an accident happens. You know, you can't control who gets hurt one day and you know, things like that. And that's a lot to deal with, you know?
Right. I can imagine. So it's, go ahead.
Oh, I said Magog is absolutely right.
Yes.
Yeah, so as much as, thank you. Worship me.
Yes.
But it also helps to have an outlet. And a lot of these guys come back, they don't have an outlet.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I've always been a creative person. I've always, I'm a writer. I'm a published author. I do this YouTube thing. I'm an artist. I've always been able to focus my energies into something creative and outwardly. And a lot of these guys, they just come back and just play video games or whatever, and there's nothing wrong with that.
Sure.
But you know, you get a Marine who has PTSD playing a World War II shoot 'em up game. You know, and then all of a sudden he doesn't even know it's affecting him, and then all of a sudden he has a nightmare and flips the fuck out.
Oof.
All I can say, do not fuck with vets. Vets will kick your fucking ass, dude. If you seriously, do not fuck with vets.
There was that. Do you guys remember the? Is an old viral video. Ambulamps. Somebody call it ambulamps.
Yeah.
Yeah, the some thug dude was trying to fuck with this old vet, and he's old guy, big old fucking beer belly, beard, wizened old guy. He's a former combat vet from I think like Korea or something to beat the shit out of that guy. Oh my god.
Oh yeah. And there's just certain people you just don't fuck with regardless because they just have that look, that 1,000-yard stare.
Yeah.
You know, and even human beings who've never been in war can recognize that you look into somebody's eyes and you're like, that motherfucker there seen some shit and done some shit. You know?
Oh, there's Bane. We should Bane was friends. If you want to come on and talk about it, Bane, like I'll send it to you on Twitter. Yeah. Still tweeting out to different people.
Yeah. Anonymous, are you alive, hon?
Pardon me?
Are you alive?
Yeah, I'm here. I just I've sort of feel like I've outlived my usefulness. I just came and divulged all the information I had from Ivy's friend, right? So I don't really know what else to say. Like,
yeah,
I'm flabbergasted by some of the fucking reactions to it. I'm floored.
Yeah, it's strange, man.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to take over the.
No. You because it's true. Like that, post-traumatic stress could have played a very big hand in this, but I'm not sure. It sounds like it from what Athena has said and what Ivy's friend is telling me. That is what it sounds like.
Right.
There are two Michael Gables.
Yeah, somehow it kicked me out the first time, and I just hopped back on.
What's going on, man? Good to see you.
Good to see you.
So you were telling me that you have a lot of friends who came back and had a pretty rough time.
Yeah, I was in the Marines for over 5 years, and I didn't go overseas. I didn't go to Iraq or Afghanistan or anything like that. But I knew where I was stationed at. There was the 7th Marines were at, and there were a lot of infantry guys, and several of them were really close friends. And using any of the choices that somebody makes or what happens when they do have these breaks, but it is like Magog says, it's not an instant thing. It builds up, but when it happens, there are times that they don't even know what's going on. I saw it happen multiple times where when they as you would say, they snapped or whatever happened, eventually hit that climactic point. There was, you couldn't bring them back to reality, and there was you just had to write it out and do your best to try and help them.
People think it happens instantly because a lot of vets too are really good at hiding what they're feeling up until the point that they break.
See, and I think that's part of a problem with the way that we're trained. I mean, I know when we were in, or when I was in, you know, the entire time through boot camp, the only thing that they do is they're breaking you down from yourself, but they're desensitizing you to the violence that you possibly will see. And so when you come out and you actually go into these zones and you wind up doing these things, you can't reconcile what you've been trained and what you know that has happened, and it becomes a real issue. So many try to just hold on to it and deal with it themselves because of that fact, and it's absolutely horrible. It winds up killing many because they just can't deal with it.
I there's something else that happens too. I remember, and a lot of, I'll go ahead and say a lot of people are surprised to hear that I was in the Air Force, but I did convoys. A lot of people see the Air Force as the chair force, the lazy, the lazy. They never see, they're fat and lazy, and they never see combat. But I was transportation. I was truck driver. And so what do I do when I go downrange? I drive with the Army. So we were kind of on loan, and I was with the 424 medium truck detachment out of Camp Arif John, Kuwait, and we'd cross the border into Iraq and drive all over that motherfucker, picking up cargo and all kinds of stuff. And something happens when you're in war, when you're in a war zone, when you enter that war zone. The first mission I went out on, I had my helmet on, I was nervous. My truck commander's next to me. I'm like grabbing the wheel with both hands. My truck commander's like, "Hey, you want a drink?" I'm like, "No, I can't. I can't let go of the wheel." I'm looking around. I'm like, "Where's the enemy?" And then, like, by the third mission, my helmet's off, the window's open, I'm smoking out of it. I'm like, "Fuck it. If they blow me up, fuck it. I'm smoking."
Just don't give a fuck by that point.
Yeah. And it's just there's.
I don't give a fuck. I'm smoking.
Yeah.
Shut up, man.
After the first bomb goes off, and you're like, that was really scary. The second one goes off, and you're like, meh. And sometimes when that happens, it's like this massive switch, and you suddenly don't care that you live or die because it might be your time, and you got no control over it. And as my master sergeant used to say, he'd be like, "If it's your time to go, Jesus will come and get you. You ain't gonna stop it from happening. Jesus is coming to get you."
Yeah, the Air Force does take a lot of flack, but people don't know that they still serve in highly dangerous areas. Back in '96, my uncle was stationed in Saudi Arabia when that bomb went off at the military base out there.
Oh yeah.
And for the next, I'd say 10 hours, we were all losing our minds. I mean, here I was, this 11-year-old kid, and my entire family was freaking out, and they had no idea what to do. We all thought we lost our uncle, and it turned out he was okay. He wasn't where the bomb went off, but I tried talking to him about it years later, like 5-6 years ago, and he wouldn't. He just got this look like no.
Yeah, there's a lot I'll talk about on these streams, and I've told a lot of stories, but there's still stuff that I'll never talk about. Ever.
Well, no, and shell shock is fucking real, man. Despite they fucking labeled it PTSD, shell shock is a fucking thing.
Sure.
My grandfather was on his deathbed before he started talking about certain shit.
Right.
Well, and that really is very dangerous for many of the vets. We had somebody for a time. He was a friend of ours. He was actually the first person I saw have an episode, and he about a year ago he had another one, and there's so many things that lead up to it, but when it happens, it's just there's no way to explain it. He went back home, and people called the cops because he started breaking, and he went back home, sat in a basement, cops surrounded his house, and he put a gun to his head, and took his own life. That's when it's not dealt with, and
Lisa, shut off the goddamn YouTube. You're distorting everything.
When it's
sorry, I was talking to Lady Fifth.
When it's not dealt with, and when you don't seek out the help that you need, and if you know somebody who has been over there and they think they can handle it on their own, please encourage them to seek out help. So many come back and they're used to having to be strong, and when they're civilians, they just refuse to go and get help, and they need it.
Well, like I had a mortar round hit 200 yards from me, and it didn't go off. It just kind of hit the dirt, the sand, and puffed up, and I was like, "What the fuck is that? Somebody throwing rocks?" And then I was walking to the shower caddy, had my boy shorts on, carrying my towel, had my fucking my reflecting belt, And
you had to wear that everywhere, didn't you?
Oh yeah, that was the thing. And then I come walking out, and sure enough, they had cordoned it off, and EOD was out there, and I was like, it wasn't a rock, And it's like, okay, fuck it. And I have found, and this is verified through a lot of people I talk to, anybody, you have a less of a chance. I'm not saying it's impossible, but you have a less of a chance to have like hardcore PTSD if you allow that amount of fuck it in your system when you're over there. Because, accepting your fate often does relieve the stress a little bit. And that sounds fucked up. It sounds fucked up. Like you're sitting there going, oh, I could just die any day, so whatever. That's a horrible way to live,
What's worse is living on the edge all the time.
Right.
I would think that would be a lot more stressful than to at least coming to terms with it.
Right. And then there's other things that cause PTSD, like I think I mentioned on a stream Marty was on. I had a guy who got a Dear John DVD of his wife sucking his best friend's dick.
Oh God!
I know several people that had that happen.
Yeah, and he had to be put on suicide watch.
That's fucking horrible. Who does that?
Really awful people.
Yeah.
Yeah. The loss of loved ones while you're in service is, that's probably one of the biggest issues that comes with the life. Everybody I've talked to, I've really been very involved with veterans in my entire adult life, and you always hear about the Dear John letters, the deaths in the family, the things you cannot physically be there for, and because you're torn away from that situation, it does have a serious effect on your mental state. It is a reoccurring theme in everybody I've talked to.
Now, do we know this guy we're talking about? What's his name? Alexander, right? From Skeptic Feminist.
Yeah.
Do we know that he served overseas? Was he a cop? Like, what?
We're not exactly sure, to be honest.
All he said to me was that he had some form of military PTSD.
No.
Oh.
Okay.
And we know that he had a psychotic break, But
actually, I don't know if Bane's coming, but he may know more about that. They were closer than I was with him.
Sure.
They may have talked about it.
And I'm fine with talking about it. But I'm happy that, in light of it, whether or not it even ends up being that PTSD was the thing that caused this to happen, allegedly to happen. Sorry, everybody who's gonna split hairs and you don't know whether he did it. Whether or not, at least we could do something constructive and talk about something that doesn't get talked about too much. So
sure.
I'm happy about that. I'm thrilled that you guys are willing to come on and share.
I the reason I wanted to come on is because I wasn't quite good enough for the service, and I pretty much devoted my entire adult life to being involved in studying and doing everything I could in lack of my inadequacies to serve my country. And thank you for allowing me the opportunity, Jeff.
Sure,
now,
absolutely.
I think there's something else that needs to be talked about, but I don't want to take up the mic too much. But there's also something else, and I'm sure that my good buddy Michael over there might attest to this. Some of these guys don't want help. They think it's condescending to ask them how they are. They think it's insulting
And that's
to their
part
manhood.
Of what,
to their manhood. And that's very difficult for the VA too, because a lot of these guys don't go to the VA at all. They don't even apply for benefits. They just come back and they integrate back into the civilian world, and they figure out what civilians eat again, and and all that stuff, and how they dress and everything, and then they just don't deal with it because it's not manly to go talk to a psychologist. It's not the military way to spill your feelings.
Supposed to just swallow it and push it down. That's
right.
Initially, when you get through almost all of your basic, that is pretty much what you've just learned is be a man, suck it up, deal with it. Yep. And it takes a lot for some of them to get over that and just go out and seek help. And then at the same time, you have the VA that half the time will they're useless on certain issues. They really are. When you're trying to get benefits and help, sometimes it is just fucking impossible.
Yeah,
and
that's a fact.
Now, to be fair to the VA, they also deal with a hell of a lot of fraud.
Yes, they do, and that is true.
The attitude that you mentioned is kind of like the attitude that I had a couple months ago when I got out. Because I didn't want to deal with any of that, but my girlfriend, frozen binary, she convinced me to go take care of, get taken care of, and go see the VA and all that. So basically, just after I moved in with her in Colorado, I moved back home and finally started coming to the VA and all of that shit.
Right. Good for you, man. Did you just got out? What were you Army, Marines?
Army, infantry.
Army. Oh, right. Hoorah. My boys in the army, because I rolled with them in convoys, man. 88 Mike. I love them guys, man.
I invited a a former EOD, and I hope he shows up.
I have a friend who's an EOD to this day. He's on my Facebook and everything, and that motherfucker. See, EOD, they deal with shit really hardcore comedy, like it's that gallows humor. That's how they help deal with shit. And a lot of people in the military do with that. You know.
Yeah, I did a lot of training with EOD guys when I was in Afghanistan, and I was like, at some point I stopped caring because I was on my elbows and knees poking around on the ground.
That's how you get EOD guys who come out to a planted IED and stomp on the ground and go, "It's fine, shut up."
Yeah, my EOD buddy used to have a shirt that said, "If you see me running, try to keep up."
Yeah.
I have a really funny story about that. When I was in Iraq, my first deployment, we're hanging out outside the chow hall, right? And then we're just sitting there smoking cigarettes, whatnot, waiting for a bus to come by, and then we see these fucking EOD guys, full suit, and they're just running. And me and my team leader are like, "What the fuck, dude?" Right? So we start running full speed ahead of them. And then one of them stops us and is like, "What the hell are you guys doing?" It's like, "You're the explosives expert, and you're running. I'm gonna stay ahead of you." And the guy's like, "No, dummy, we're doing a 5K for charity." I'm like, "Oh."
That's fucking great.
And my fat ass is running away from nothing, carrying a big ass machine gun.
Yeah,
I'm like, "Ah, thank fuck."
Yeah, my buddy, he had an idea. He was like, "I'm gonna be rich, dude. I'm gonna be rich." I'm like, wait. He's like, "When I get out of the Air Force, I'm gonna do T-shirts." And I'm like, "Cool. What are you gonna do?" He's like, "I'm gonna do one-armed EOD T-shirts. They only have one sleeve." I was like, "Oh my god." What the fuck, man?
I don't know if you guys have seen the picture of there's an EOD guy that's missing a leg, but he's got the prosthesis, right? And on his other leg, he's got a tattoo that says "1 foot on the grave."
It's that gallows humor, man. You know, that's how I deal with it.
You need that shit, man.
Oh yeah. Some dark shit.
I'm back.
Hey, Sam.
I have returned.
Welcome back, buddy.
Thank you.
Still super quiet though. Super quiet.
Still are.
Yeah, you sound pretty far away.
I'm on my phone. I can't help.
On
Aw.
my phone too. No excuses, guy.
Can anybody hear me?
We can hear you, but we're also echoing through your speakers.
Yeah, man.
Oh shit.
Hardcore. Hello.
My bad. I'm turning it down now.
I sound like I'm casting a spell.
Sorry about that, dude.
Oh, no worries, man. Welcome. And there's
Thank you.
there's Sevvie too. What's up, Sevvie?
Hey,
Hey, Local. How is everybody?
I'm just having a good conversation. Actually, it's pretty great.
Well, I'm gonna get some headphones so I can hear you guys now that I'm not echoing so bad.
All right, man. We'll be here.
You got like a loud. What is that? Am I the only one that hears it?
No, that hiss, it's there.
Woo.
On the last day.
In a world ravaged by war.
Nice. That actually sounded.
So what have I missed?
Hello, what?
I can't hear you.
And somebody
What have I
has some
missed?
severe static going
Here,
on.
so Jay, I'm gonna until you get your headphones. I'm just gonna mute you for a second, man, and then once you come
that's
back,
way better.
once you come back, just click the unmute button at the top of the Hangout screen.
Yep.
So what I said was, what have I missed since I've been gone?
I came in here and told a funny story.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we were talking about EOD and one-armed T-shirts and all kinds of funny shit.
Hey, you know how you make a 200-pound soldier run an 8 minute on his 2 mile?
How?
You yell zonk.
Yep, that's about right.
Yep.
What's zonk mean?
Zonk is. I'll tell the story. Song
There you go.
basically means disappear for the entire day. I don't want to see you. Keep your phone on, right? Basically, when we came back from Iraq, we're all tired. We're hungover because we got there like 2 a.m. Then the captain tells us, all right, 08, show back up, right? We're like, 08 tomorrow, right, sir? No, 08 in like 6 hours. We're like, fuck. So we show up. They do accountability. First song comes out and it's like, song, and everybody gone, disappeared. Like within seconds, no one was there anymore, right? And I'm the only one standing there, right? And this really skinny guy comes up, grabs me, picks me up, he puts me in his car, and it's like, dude, you don't stand around when they yell song. That's basically what song is.
Unless you want to be mopping floors for the next 6 hours, go away.
That's about it. Yeah.
Yep.
So, Jeff, do you still have static?
Yeah, we're hearing you hardcore, man. Like
Okay.
you're driving down the road or something. That's kind of what it sounds like.
Well, I got people chopping trees out back.
You know what
I
you
don't
could
think
do? Sometimes what I have to do with background noise is what I'll do is I just keep my cursor on the mute button, and then like when I'm gonna say something, I just unmute and I say it, and then I go back to muted for background noise.
Okay, that sounds good. I can definitely do that. So, yeah. So, let me
Happy
know.
to have you here, man.
Oh, thank you, man. I appreciate it. It's good to meet you. I've been following you for a long time.
Aw.
So,
So,
where did our vets in here? Where did you guys go to basic at?
Oh, you're so quiet, dude.
All Air Force goes to the same place. We're the only branch of the military that has one boot camp, and that's Lackland Air Force Base, San Antonio, Texas.
Yeah,
I had a
it's right
friend that went
behind
to
Fort.
NLO school there.
It's right behind Fort Sam Houston.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
was at Paris
Jesus
Island.
Christ.
Oh shit, Hollywood.
Every time you click,
Fuck that.
yeah, it's hotter. Fucking, that's where the convoy training was down that way, and because I had to go back to Texas for convoy training, pissed me off.
Yeah, dude, I'm from Texas, and I wanted to see the world. I got stationed in Texas twice.
Ah, shit, that sucks, man. Hey, if it makes you feel any better, I did my tech school in Fort Lawson Woods.
Hey, so
Oh,
did I.
God.
Woo!
Yeah, that's for fucking Fort Leonard Wood, Missouri. Fucking middle of nowhere.
Place?
Motor T capital of the world.
Fucking
Where did
ordinance.
you go?
yeah, I went at Fort Knox. Apparently, they switched scout school to Fort Benning now. But
Yeah.
when I went in, it was
Yeah, I gotta
Fort
go to
Knox.
fucking Fort Knox. I gotta
Combat
go to
arms.
Fort Knox this weekend, actually.
Yeah, Prime Combat Arms is now all in Benning. Scouts, infantry, and tanks.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's funny. They used to call us Pop-Tarts because we only had a 6-week or 9-week tech school, which is like nothing. There were people there for like 9 months, a year. We were there for weeks because they're like, here's how you drive a bus. Now go.
Dude, we don't even get a tech school. We get an extra week in basic, and that's it.
Yeah, basically,
Oh,
I
yeah,
didn't.
you were a Calf Scout, right?
No, I'm an
Or
infantryman.
no, not Calf Scout. What were you? I forget.
An infantryman.
What?
I was a Cav Scout.
Oh, fuck.
Yeah.
That's the worst.
Well, it kind of sucks a little bit. I mean, it's like infantry on steroids. We had OSIT for about 16 months, and then I went to first I didn't go to my unit at first. I went to airborne school, and then I had a rib injury, and they're like, you could just wait it out for 4 months, and I'm like, there's a fucking war going on. Go fuck yourself. And there's nobody's parachuting into Iraq, so fuck you. I'm going to war, and that's what I did, and I'm like, just send me to a fucking unit. I don't care which one, and I ended up going to Iraq. So, yeah, that's pretty much. And then after that, Afghanistan, after I got stationed in Alaska after Fort Bliss and stuff like
God.
that. So,
Yeah.
yeah, Fairbanks, Alaska, dude.
Oh, God,
That was
Fuck that shit, man.
freezing my fucking balls off.
About
You
horror
have to do the
stories
fucking
from
cold
Alaska.
weather, the winter survival school for that, right?
Yeah, you do a little thing called AILIT. I managed to skate out of it every time it fucking happened. It's fucking stupid. You take your sleeping bag outside the building, outside the barracks building, and just sleep on the ground. It's the stupidest fucking thing ever. You think it's some fucking Les Stroud shit where you fucking go out into the wild? Fuck no. No, it's fucking gay. You just take your damn sleeping bag outside the goddamn door, and that's all you do. And you sleep on the ground. It is the dumbest fucking thing ever. Well, I skated out of it every time because I had just got back from Afghanistan, and nobody really fucked with me. And I was a sergeant already, and I was like, I'm just not doing this. I'm not doing this. I got fucking multiple doctors telling me yeah.
Well, that's all that real Rambo shit is SEER school, and there's like a limit to how many people go there.
Yeah.
SEER school's the fucking worst.
This is what happens, Jeff. This is what happens when you invite a bunch of vets onto a stream. You get fucking quiet, and everybody shut up. We're talking about war stories.
No. It's great. The thing is, so. Hey, just my little.
By the way, Jeff, I turned down some of my. I turned down my. What is this called? It's called adjust bandwidth usage. I turned that down. Did that help?
No.
Nope.
Not really.
Okay. Well then, let me mute my fucking self.
Yeah. No. My.
And now you talk.
My family it's a proud military family. We've always had everybody. There's always been a generation that served in war. And the basic rule for the family was the firstborn son always goes into the military. And my older biological brother, who sucks, washed out. He washed out like the piece of shit he is. So I wanted to serve, and I told my dad that I wanted to go in, and this was was it have been like 2002 or so, after 9/11 and everything. I didn't really have a whole lot going on with my life, and so I told my dad I wanted to go in, and I mean he couldn't have stopped me, but he basically forbade me from going. So
yeah, those were the early days when they didn't we went to war, and a lot of the guys I served with, they were we called them vets, but even though they were still in, because they were vets of the Iraq War, they'd been before. So a lot of us new guys were like, we don't know what to expect. And well, my tech sergeant, he was in 2002 when they first went over there, and they didn't have shit. They had like sandbags in the floorboards to stop bombs. Like they didn't have armor. They didn't have they were Frankenstein in their trucks together with whatever they could find. They were welding fucking car doors to the outsides of their trucks and shit.
I don't know how many times
2002 was a fucked up time.
No, that shit happened.
Yeah.
No, that shit totally happened.
For anybody that hasn't seen it, go watch Generation Kill. That is early war days.
No, read the book. It's a lot better.
It is, but nobody reads. Everybody watches HBO miniseries.
How's my sound now, by the way?
It's a little bit better.
It's a little bit better,
A
yeah.
little bit better? Okay, cool.
Yeah.
All right. I turned my microphone down, apparently.
That was it there, because the hum is there, but it's not as boom.
Yeah, I don't know how to technology. I don't.
You're like Alan Grant from
y'all are fucking holding a goddamn Bic lighter up to a caveman right now. I don't know how to do this shit. Like I said, I sent you a super chat earlier. I didn't know you weren't reading super chats, but I sent you a super chat saying I'd fucking recorded a video a bunch of times, thinking about posting it on the internet, thinking about starting a YouTube channel, but I was like, oh god, this fucking sucks. This is trash compared to what I see out there, and I suck at this technology thing, man.
Everybody starts somewhere, and like my first 5 videos are trash. You just do it, and then they just get better, man.
I have a question for all my buddies who served. What'd you guys shoot? I got like 3 ribbons: marksman twice and sharpshooter once. It was awesome.
Yeah, I was a sharpshooter.
Hell yeah,
I was a sharpshooter.
Fuck
and
yeah.
Then, I was a machine gunner too. So for most of my career.
Nice.
I'm that douchebag. I shot expert.
Right on, man.
I shot expert when I cared, but then I turned sergeant and I just showed marksman.
Once
I would shoot. I would hit my 23 or 27, whatever it was, and then put the rest on the barcode on the corner. I'm like,
yeah.
Man, you gotta stop doing this, please.
I actually pissed off my first sergeant and my platoon sergeant once because I kept going back out to the range to fucking try and get expert, but I couldn't fucking do it. I got a bad eye and shit, so.
Right. Yeah.
That's why I never went SF. Is it was only because of my eye. You know, and it's fucked up because all these other kids, they go to SFAS and they fail out because they don't want to do all the flutter kicks, and me, I couldn't get past the goddamn optometrist. Like, what the fuck?
That's
Yeah,
always the way it is, bro.
Last year, I got my German weapons proficiency. That was hard as shit, and I wanted to die.
No, I shot 49 out of 50 in the black with a gas mask on. And I don't know if nobody knows until you do it, but it is hard to shoot an M16 with a fucking gas mask on.
It's a fucking pain in the ass.
Yeah, it is.
It's hard shit, man.
It's hard to fire anything with a fucking gas mask.
Oh, yeah.
Gas masks are the bane of all existence.
Oh, that's not true at all. I shot 155 millimeter cannons. Gas mask irrelevant.
Well, duh. No shit. You're like, in what general... Okay, over here we got a problem. Boom! Problem ain't there anymore.
Fuck that zip code.
So I shot a Mark 19 and I had a gas mask on. Yeah, no shit. The fucking round explodes and killed everything around it.
Right.
Dude, Plebs, are you a fucking artillery guy?
Yeah.
Fuck
Nice.
yeah.
Fuck yeah. Artillery. We used to have those, I can't remember what it's called. Maybe my Army guys can remember. When we'd stop at like JBB, BIOP, there was like these fucking Gatling guns that use radar to shoot fucking mortars out of the air. And then, man, we'd sit out and watch them motherfuckers.
I can't remember what those things were called. We were trying to get those installed on our fob.
We can't hear you, Politipod.
Right, call the Sea-Wiz.
Sea-Wiz. That's
Sea-Wiz, yeah.
That's it.
We were trying to get those installed on our fob. I wasn't anywhere near Baghdad, so I don't know BIOP or anything like that.
Yeah.
But I was down in Alamara where we were just getting fucking rocketed all the time. The time, just fucking raining rockets on us.
Fuck yeah.
And we just got used to it. And we would make jokes about it as we were going to the bunker and shit like that. It was just fucking, it was like normal shit. Apparently they were going to give them to us, but then that fob got overrun and shit like that. But,
Yeah, it was the same with Fob Scania, and everybody knows Scania. That's a truck stop, baby. It's like in the middle of dirty Tampa. It's the only place to stop for a military convoy before you reach, Baghdad or BIOP or JBB.
MSR Tampa.
Fucking dirty Tampa, baby.
Fuck off.
I've actually driven from all the way from the north end of Tampa to the south end of Tampa, and then flew into Kuwait like a 30-minute flight.
Yeah, right.
It's risky business.
When we left Iraq, like the north side of Iraq, we were like some of the last ones out. So it's like, all right, you guys are going to drive this 30-truck convoy. And somewhere along the way, I hit my platoon sergeant with an ice bag right across the face. So he wanted to leave me there and put me in handcuffs and all kind of crazy shit he wanted to do to me. I ended up just like apologizing to him. And it's like, all right, you'll be apologized, but you're not going to be the gunner on the truck anymore. I'm like,
the reason we called it Dirty Tampa is because you'd be driving and it's a perfectly nice little highway and it's got a road, and then all of a sudden it's just not finished and you're in the desert. You're on sand, and it's just sand everywhere, and that's the moment that it really truly feels like you've stepped into a Mad Max movie. You're like, whoa, yeah!
Oh, Iraq is definitely a Mad Max movie. Absolutely, 100%.
And the
Witness me! Witness me!
So I think I'm the only fobbit here, but I do fucking military intelligence and like planning for shit. MSR Tampa is the worst fucking thing whenever you have to do IED analysis.
Oh yeah,
it's the fucking worst.
Yeah. Irish was worse, I'm sure. Route Irish had to have been fucking 10 times worse.
I rode Route Irish, man. Fuck that.
Yeah, he rode Route. I've only heard stories because, like I said, I was never anywhere near Baghdad. But Route Irish was just was like Minesweeper in real fucking life.
I ran into 18 fucking IEDs on Irish.
Yeah, I mean, Route Irish was just was the worst. I mean, Iraq was just mostly getting bombed for me. Afghanistan was where I saw the fucking dead kid in the firefight and the fucking IED that fucking almost threw a truck at me. But yeah, dude, Iraq was just mostly getting bombed, and hearing stories about all these fucking roads where it was literally Minesweeper. You were just fucking rolling the dice if you wanted to fucking drive down that road.
We had to roll with EOD because we had to stop so many times.
Yeah, I almost had an EOD truck thrown at me. I had a
Dude,
fucking EOD
Jesus
truck
Christ.
this fucking what do they call it? They're big fucking they're little big fucking bus looking trucks.
Yeah. Fucking
That they had
the mobile command center looking thing.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah,
so
we had
I had a-
we
Once
were
they can
doing
take a
route
bomb from the
clearance,
bottom.
of course. We were doing fucking. We were hey, we're gonna go find with these guys found an IED and they cordoned it off, and we're like, cool. So we're gonna take EOD out there, and we were on EOD escort, and fucking we're rolling down Route Killer, named very appropriately.
Yeah.
Route Killer out in Kandahar, out in fucking Kandahar.
Oh,
and,
God. Oh, fuck you.
we're rolling. Yeah, and we're rolling into the fucking Dust Bowl there, and well, we found out that there was one that they didn't find on their way out to where they were going.
Oh.
And I was on the gun, and I was on one of the Crow systems. This was a new thing for me because I was always a free gunner, and I'm like doing this remote control thing, and all of a sudden my screen just fills up with dust, and there's like an earthquake, and I fucking look around the driver because I'm positioned behind the driver. I'm in the back driver's side seat, and I look around the driver, and the windshield is just dust, and this thing is fucking upside down and on fire. And we're like, holy shit, everybody's dead in that truck. Everybody's dead in that fucking truck. And it caught fire, and we're like, oh shit, there's C4 in there. We got to get those dudes out of there. So we got dudes fucking running up there with fire extinguishers and shit like that. Everybody fucking, you will not believe this, but everybody survived. There was one DOD civilian with a snap back. He got fucking broken in half. He got sent back home. But I cannot believe that everybody fucking survived in there. And we just pulled everybody in, and we fucking cordoned off the area, and then somebody else had to fucking come in, you know. It was one of those circle jerk type fucking deals. Yeah. So that was
those I don't know, like I'm going to raise awareness since we're doing this stream. I'm going to raise awareness for most convoy guys. We're not even scared of IEDs unless they're like a 500-pounder. You know?
Yeah, that is true.
Still,
You know what scared the fuck out of me as convoy? EFPs. Explosive form projectiles.
I got good news. They kind of quit using them.
Yeah, but
they ran out of copper.
Oh yeah,
from
those
the
ones where
fucking
they had
line.
the fucking disc. I remember those. They had the fucking disc, and they would put an
copper
IED behind copper disc, and it would put an IED behind it, and it would melt, and it would turn into a cone right before it hit the fucking truck.
Yeah.
That's what
Right
they
through
had directly underneath that EOD truck, and plus
We
it
had
was a 500-pounder. It was a
had a
500-pounder
truck
directly
with
under
that.
that.
You know what
It
though? For
flipped a
everybody,
bus.
for everybody who put up with that crap, when I was in Afghanistan, a buffalo ran over a 1,400 pound IED, nothing more than a bloody nose. So apparently, we're getting better at living through that.
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, the MRAP, my lead vehicle was an MRAP, and it had a fucking
MRAPs are a godsend, dude.
Yeah, right.
That fucking thing's had a damn sprinkler system inside of it.
Yeah, they do.
Yeah.
And
But no,
let it go off.
but no drain plug. No.
That's what
fucking
we were
drain
in. We
plug.
were in MATVs. We were
Yep.
in MATVs, and then they were in a. I think it might have been a Buffalo.
Yeah.
And
This is the-
I'm back
my
there in my
business is a
my
pickup
fucking
truck, man.
915, which ain't nothing but a damn diesel Peterbilt with some armor on the doors, and I'm
Yeah.
like, you guys get a sprinkler system?
Right.
Not cool, man.
That's all right. Let me tell you right now, that is what the Marine Corps thinks of nearly everything the Army has. Because, like, I went to Bragg at some point, and I saw the machine gunner thing with the fucking joystick and the whatever the hell that was. This is around the time that the Marine Corps was seriously debating on whether or not to put gun shields up. And we're watching you guys, like, put a 240 on top of this thing, and we're like, they get to sit totally inside the armor, but, you know, hey, maybe we'll give you a steel plate out front. What the hell?
I literally describe it as watching somebody pilot the Starship Enterprise while you're in Apollo 13. Like,
Yeah,
just
right.
flying, like, you know, like you got shields and torpedoes, and I got fucking Tom Hanks here going, Houston,
Right.
we got a problem.
Exactly.
Yeah, Tom Hanks makes a hell of a fucking officer, doesn't he?
Yeah.
We lived, but it was a shaky ride, you know.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was good. Our lead MRAP got hit with an EFP, and the only reason those guys lived was the sprinkler system.
Yeah.
No, yeah, I got one. I had a fucking one with a recoilless rifle. I was coming back from leave.
Holy shit.
Which means I had to leave my rifle at the fob. which is
For
fucking
anybody
stupid.
for anybody that doesn't know, let me explain. For anybody that doesn't know, a recoilless rifle is basically a bazooka.
Yeah. Thank you for that. Thank you. I didn't really.
It's made by Saab, you know, the company that makes cars.
Yep.
And you can only shoot so many of them a day because they'll melt your brain.
Yep.
Yeah.
It also shoots Saab cars out of the front of it.
Basically, yeah. And they have a
So
little
we got-
timer. And they have a little timer thing in the back. You can adjust them forever. Continue. I'm sorry. I'm being pedantic.
No, I mean,
know, that was
thank
probably
God
good.
you explained that, because I don't think anybody else would have been able to. Yeah, I think that was definitely necessary. So
We
I
call
appreciate
them.
you.
They're called the Carl Gustav. We call them
Yeah.
the Gusti for short.
Oh yeah. I definitely appreciate your explanation of that. And so we got hit by one of those, and it was one of the trucks in the convoy. I didn't have a rifle, I didn't have anything, I didn't have my ammo, I didn't have nothing, and I got so pissed off because they were all support guys. Like, it was 100% support, whereas most of the smart part of the military, they would take guys like us and put us on security details for some of the logistic guys. So the guys that would ship supplies and such like that, we would provide a security detail for them. And that's the smart way to do it, because we were trained in the combat aspect of it, and they were trained on pretty much how to deal with their trucks, which is something that I delved into a little bit into my military career, and it's not a fucking easy thing to do, and it is an all-day job, and it's not like these guys can also learn everything about combat and do their goddamn job. So these guys, their call sign was, I think, Frostbite or something like that, because we came out of fucking Alaska. So their call sign was fucking Frostbite. And they were just, they completely didn't know what the fuck to do when they come into contact. And they got hit by this recoilless rifle, and check this out. Talk about a guardian angel story. This fucking thing ate through the middle of an LMTV and exploded directly under a cooler that they had for their drinks that was full of ice. It exploded directly under that and caught fire, melted the cooler, and the ice melted and put out the fire.
Luckiest
That's
motherfuckers.
Luckiest motherfuckers in the world. It was a first sergeant and a PV2 in that truck, and they were just so fucking lucky that that explosion and that fire happened to take place in the place that actually put out the fire that was about to just fucking kill them. And then the PV2 tried to get out of the truck, and he slipped on a bunch of oil that got fucking strewn all over the street and fucking hit his head, and we had to check him out. And then the first sergeant was all fucking dazed and shit like that. And
well, that's also why I don't like these, like, people who, like, doubt 9/11. Like, they were like, oh, jet fuel can't melt steel. In my trucks, we didn't run diesel, we run JP8.
Yeah,
because it's
all JP8.
Yeah, it's all JP8. Why ship two different fuels, right? And it's jet fuel. And you see a truck get blown up, there ain't putting that fire out, and I've seen a truck melt. An armored truck melt to the
Doors
fucking
melt
ground.
right off the fucking sides.
Yeah. So these people are like, jet fuel couldn't melt the steel beams in the towers. Fuck yeah, it could.
When I got,
it absolutely could.
Making those towers out of something less sturdy than that fucking up armor. So
no shit.
When I got to my last unit, one of the things I had to do is like follow up on a damage report, because I got stuck with an S3, and I had to follow up with a damage report for a striker that burnt down. It's like the thing was melted down to the tires. But the thing about this thing was just like they had so much fuel and equipment and shit from the people. Like when it caught on fire, they couldn't do anything but get out of it. And then the halon didn't work, so the thing just burnt the fuck down. I had to do like damage.
The evaluation.
Basically damage memos for the soldiers who lost their equipment in it. I'm like, was there nothing left? And I'm like, no, this thing was gone. I was like, I wasn't even there, and these people are telling me what happened.
You pretty much had to just redo a 2404 on it, or
No, I had to do, basically, it was just the tail end of it. I just saw pictures about it. The damage report for the vehicle was done. I just had to look at it. But what I had to deal with is to get the soldiers the equipment that got burnt in the truck. It's like,
Now going back to the going back to the PTSD thing. There's another thing too, and that's like sleep problems. Because when I got back from Iraq, I could not sleep without sand in my ass crack. Like it was just, it felt too natural. It felt too like. What do you guys think?
No,
and that was a little joke, but sleep problems are a big thing.
No, seriously, in a really weird way, being uncomfortable makes you able to sleep more after that. Like I could sleep sitting up, like it was cool, but if I laid down, I just stare at the ceiling.
Yeah, a couple weeks ago, I was I'm staying with my sister right now because I moved back home and I don't have anything right now going on. So I was like, I'm living with my sister. My parents came to visit because I'm in town, whatever. So I was like, man, I can't sleep. And then my back was hurting really bad. So I saw my bags piled up in the corner. I was like, yeah, I'm going to go sleep right there. So I'm crashed out on the floor. My back is like perfectly still. Nothing hurts. It's great. My mom turns on the light, starts yelling and screaming at me. I was like, what's wrong? What happened? I was like, my back hurts, Mom. I'm just trying to sleep. Please leave me alone.
Yeah.
She's like freaking out about it.
I've definitely had that where like after my dad died, who was a prick. Please don't say that you're sorry. He was a total fucking prick. I just had
sorry,
to
not sorry.
pay for his fee. Yeah, it's cool. But I went camping with a buddy of mine, and I realized that when I'm up in the woods and when I'm up like in the fucking dirt and trying to figure out how to fucking get comfortable to sleep, I sleep fucking better. And
my wife despises that.
Yeah, it's weird. It's weird as shit, but it's because when you first get back, I mean, the only thing you could do is get drunk. That's the only thing that I could fucking do. I was at a bottle of Wild Turkey a day, easy. I mean, that was a light day. And,
I got to basically about the same amount.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I don't know. There is another thing. You can go out and get laid. See, I'm a lover and a fighter.
Yeah. No, when I went out and got laid, and I did that quite a few fucking times. You just fucking feel. I actually had one where I woke up in my fucking. I shit you not. I woke up in my barracks room. I passed out in a chair rather than the bed, and I looked down at my jeans, and apparently this girl fucking started her period on my fucking jeans. It was a stripper too. It was a stripper too. I'm not even fucking, like, I didn't even know. I think her name was Diane or something like that. It probably wasn't her real name. And I was like... And I'm like, holy shit, I gotta rethink my life choices. Yep. Oh my god.
To the sleeping in the middle of nowhere thing, like, for years I couldn't sleep at home, and we'd go camping, and I'd throw a sleeping bag down on some rocky ground and be out in 2 minutes. And the wife would be like, God damn it, motherfucker, put up a tent and put down some bedding or something. I'm like, no, that's ruining it. Fuck that. I'm going to sleep on the rocks.
Give me some hard rocks.
Fucking
U.S. military, learn to sleep anywhere.
Oh god,
no shit. I slept in the Striker a bunch of times and the Matvey a bunch of times.
Yeah,
this is fucking. It's just it's when you're at that high octane moment and you're only comfortable at that high octane moment, and you get into a situation where you can just calm the fuck down. It's so weird. It's so fucking weird when you don't have anything to worry about, and I don't know. You just like lose purpose or some shit. I don't know.
So there's a guy that's going around like putting together a thing on like PTSD and vets, and what he's doing is disaster relief and across like the whole country. And so his point is that he gets together like basically 2 squads ish worth of guys, and those same 2 squads of guys go to disaster relief because vets lose purpose and lose community when they come home. So if you keep the 2 squads worth of guys together, you still have people who know each other and have a community. And while vets tend to lose purpose, hand them a chainsaw in the middle of a fucking tornado, and all of a sudden you have guys who can get anything done anywhere, anytime. It's actually kind of fucking cool.
Oh, yeah. Well, I realize that this whole situation with Skeptic Feminist, going back to the original topic, is a pretty fucked up situation that's just developing. And, PTSD may have played a factor But as Jeff said when we started the stream, I hope that people kind of, I know it's not going to happen because you can't stop the trolling, but I do hope people kind of think before they go to the ideological route and be like, oh, he was misogyny.
I have a little thing, a small, very small point to make about them. When I got into a Twitter spat with them, they blocked me. But the tweet before they blocked me is, everybody here is military service, and then they blocked me. And I'm like, how is he saying that they're all army, that he's acting like a fucking pussy, right? And it always boggled my mind that they said, oh yeah, we're all prior military here.
You'd never know which one you were talking to, but he was a little less liberal with the block button as the girls were.
Yeah. Well,
I think it might have been Ivy.
Yeah.
Do we not all know that guy after we got out? The one that, pulls back from the world and, doesn't want to deal with shit that isn't something he can yell at or hit? I mean, whether we all want to acknowledge it, don't we all know that guy somewhere?
Yep.
Oh, yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah, we know that.
I am that guy.
There you go. Or girl, sorry.
Yeah, I definitely know that guy.
Yeah.
And, I never, I'm not going to act like I ever fucking understood, because I've known a lot of fucking, when you're in the military, you meet a lot of fucked up people, especially in the well, I can't even really say that because I don't know the Air Force side and the Navy side, but, specifically the Army and the Marine Corps side, you meet a lot of people that have just done shit that turns your fucking stomach,
Yeah.
and and they figured out, and probably to their benefit in some way or another, they figured out how to fucking deal with it. But I remember this one dude who was a total fucking cocksucker, and him and I used to butt heads all the fucking time, but he was just telling me the story about this one time that he was running a checkpoint, and he was trying to explain to these privates. We're both NCOs at this time. This is later on in my career, and he's trying to explain to these privates how distressing it can get out there. And he was running this checkpoint, and this girl fucking decided to try and drive through the checkpoint, saying her baby was sick. My baby's sick. My baby's sick. I just need to get to a hospital that's on the other side of this checkpoint. And he said, well, she went back the other way, and her baby didn't need a hospital anymore. They fucking killed the baby.
Yeah.
They killed it. They just fucking shot the baby. And they're like, well, they're not going to do anything for it now, so why don't you just get the fuck out of here? All because they were afraid of getting blown up. Now, I'm familiar both with the fear of getting blown up, and I'm familiar with the mind fuck of actually seeing a dead kid, because later on, I was in a V-bid where I had to look at what was left of a 2-year-old after some fucking cocksucker had set off a vehicle-borne IED at our gate, and I was familiar with the both of those things, and I'm like, dude, I haven't even come to terms with either two of these events, and I don't know how exactly. I don't know how you managed to come to terms with what happened there, or whether or not you were the one that pulled the trigger, but I don't know if I want to be the person that does come to terms with that. And that's one of the things that I think freaks vets out the most is, do you want to be okay with what happened, with what you've seen, with what you've done? Do you want to be okay with it?
Well, that's in some ways that's not a question until you get back, because when you're hanging out with, in my personal case, a bunch of Marines who all found our own way to deal with this, and we all eventually get the gallows humor and joke and bullshit about it, and then you come home and you tell the wrong story to a 10-year-old friend, a friend you've had for a decade or two, and they look at you like, Jesus Christ, baby killer, and even if they don't say anything, it's a, wow, I really am divorced from all of you.
I lost a shit ton of friends when I got there.
I got a question for everyone here. So we were kind of talking about this. Jay the Magic Robot and Optimus Christ were talking about this a little bit. What's your opinion on people coming up to you and saying, like, thank you for your service and shit like that?
It's weird.
That was
to me.
Really fucking weird, yeah.
That was happening to me.
It's really weird to me, and the best, I don't remember where exactly I heard this from, but the best response that I've ever come up with was, thank you for your support. And
yeah, that's what I've always said.
Good.
You know, because there's so many people. I mean, there are so many, and I had sent this to Jeff in a super chat once when he was doing a live stream with, I think, Wizard of Cause or something like that, where I was talking about TJ's atheist, amazing atheist. His little video on the military and how he really pigeonholed the military, and that's really all he did, and that's and it's totally cool. Everybody's welcome to their own opinion, you know. And I am the last person to say that, you know, because a lot of people have this fucking idea that, you know, we're over there, we're fighting for everybody's freedom, you know, and I'm not going to be the guy to say that, you know, I'm fighting for everybody's freedom and then come back and tell you that you don't have the right to say something. Right. That's fucking stupid, you know what I'm saying?
I'm fighting for freedom that you can't have.
But at the same time, these guys that get radically, you know, pro-war, they don't really see the damage that it does and how fucked up it is over there, and how you know, so it's, you know, when you see both sides of the coin and you're just like, you know,
yeah,
I don't even know how to describe it, you know.
For the last time, I'm not TJ.
No shit.
You're way prettier than TJ.
So
yeah. So it's like a fucking, you know, it's you know, it's really weird when people come up and say that to you, and you know,
it's weird, but it's better than getting spit on and called a baby killer.
Oh no,
well, there's that.
No question at all.
But the thing is, who doesn't have, even if it's in the back of your mind, some line of guilt, but it didn't go the way that you thought it did. Thank you for your support, yes, but conflicted about this than you who says thank you ever will be, or could even understand.
Yeah, no shit.
Since I had a hat, I bought it off online probably a year ago or something when I was about to get out, and it said I had to get it custom because they didn't have it. It said Iraq and Afghanistan veteran on it. I had a little CIB on the side, and I've been wearing it around for a while. I think it's on my Twitter somewhere. Anyway, I've been wearing it around town, but I ended up losing it. So I was like, whatever. So I went down to the bar, and this lady started talking shit at me. It was like, I don't know why. We started talking about the military, and she's saying, "Oh, the Marines are better than the Army." It's like,
oh, Jesus
well,
Christ.
let me tell you just one word. Let me just say one word. All right, D-Day. Not 2 words.
Yeah, no shit.
It's like biggest amphibious attack in history.
Yeah, we trashed talk
anyway,
tankers.
Let me just after that, right? It's like, so you're saying biggest amphibious assault, no Marines, right? And I'm like, yeah, 0 Marines. Well, I don't believe you. I was like, I don't care.
Oh,
what
Jesus
happened?
Fuck.
And she's like, well, you weren't there. I was like, I know I wasn't there. But
you weren't there either.
You're right. I would be like 88 years old. You're 100% correct.
And I'm like, well, it's military records are a thing, you know, like operation records. That's like, yeah. She started talking shit. I ended up telling her, well, yeah, I was in the Army, and she didn't believe me. So I showed her my VA card and stuff. And it's like, well, you don't really look like you were in the Army. It's like, yeah, because I've been trying to take care of myself for like a couple of months now, and I'm kind of just hanging out and shit.
Who's wearing the high and tight or the regulation haircut 15 years after they're out? Like,
I just cut my hair. It was like fucking 4 feet long, and I got it in 2014.
I don't know.
I was just like, did I look like I was in the Army? No.
I'm letting my hair grow out to donate it for wigs and shit. But
yeah, I just did that. I got my hair in a drawer, and I'm trying to find some cancer kid to fucking make a wig out of it. But yeah, it's like I've had tanker friends and Marine friends, and we all, we had banter and shit like that. But we also had common ground, and we were friends.
Yeah,
and I knew a guy who was very special to me. His name was John. He was a Marine in the invasion and stuff like that. And he was one of the few people who, when I came home for leave or something like that, that I could like talk to, and he and he killed himself right after I got back from Afghanistan. It was really unfortunate, and he did it really in a twisted way. I think he had like some gas tank that he super glued into his mouth or something like that.
Fucking hell.
We had
we had a chaplain. We had a chaplain and a chaplain assistant.
I was actually fucked up enough where I actually convinced my commander. I'm like, I actually have to take leave early. I know he's not blood related, but I need to take leave early. I need to try and get to this guy's funeral. And it turns out his family turned out to be kind of assholes about it, and they didn't allow anybody to attend his funeral.
That's fucked up.
Yeah, but it's, it's not like, the banter and shit like that. Yeah. I understand it, and I've participated in it, and it's fun, but that doesn't mean that we don't have respect for one another.
Right, it's sibling rivalry, man.
And that's the thing is when fucking civilians like come up to you and start talking shit about the fucking the Air Force, it's like, oh, the Army, they're like, really? Yeah, because you would know, right? Because you've been in, and they've not even fucking been near a fucking recruiting station ever.
Yeah, the Air Force is just such a bunch of fucking fags. Why don't you take a look at the PJs? Why don't you take a look at the fucking PJs? The fucking pararescue men that fucking just drop themselves into fobs that are in the middle of being fucking overrun and actually help people get the fuck out of there. So don't tell me that even the fucking Air Force is just nothing but a bunch of sissies. Okay, they do their part. It's a 4-quadrant system where they try to fucking, section out the realities of war and the different specifications of it, and we all go out and we all try to fucking defeat what is ever trying to come at us.
Air superiority, baby. Air superiority.
I think this is a thing that civvies don't get is I think the last representation of the dumb jarhead in this stream. I'll happily break all your balls because you weren't jarheads, but that's it. It's over after that. I don't actually hate the Army in any way, shape, or form, and it's
just my balls, bro.
Right?
It's just my balls.
And I mean, if you were in the military, they've been cut by lots of people. That's all I'm saying.
No, my favorite was what does it sound like when shit hits the fan? Marines.
Hey, I gotta get back to work. It's been nice talking to everybody. Jeff, thanks for having me on.
Absolutely.
And I'm having to stream tonight for a fundraiser for Mission 22. So if anyone wants to come on, you're more than welcome. Just hit me up. I'll talk to you guys later.
Go let Mercedes know.
Yeah, it's good talking to you again, man.
Take care, Politipod.
See you, man.
Yeah.
Later.
I'll be right back. I'm going to take a leak. I've been holding this in for a while.
I'm out of beer.
I'm out of that, too. I'm going to do that, too.
Let's get more beer.
Must get more beer. But yeah, I know this kind of turned into a military stream, and everything like that, and that's cool. It's good to hear all these stories and hear all these people that were over there, and man, it's really fun to it is kind of an outlet for us too, just get on and talk with people and share stories, and like when someone said fucking dirty Tampa, everybody's oh well yeah, you get this connection,
Where was Dirty Tampa?
It was all the way across Iraq from basically
right across
Kuwait.
the middle of Iraq, north to south.
Yeah,
south and north.
It's basically the length of the reason they call it that. I believe, if I remember right, they called it that because it's the length of the Tampa Bay Highway. It's like this super long fucking, huge ass fucking highway, and so it's just then there's that
and all the roads and all the major roads in Iraq are football teams.
Yeah. That's why they named it that one particularly after the football teams and stuff. But yeah, there's a lot of shit that goes over there, and like Fob Adder and Fob Scania got hit all the time because it was just off of Dirty Tampa, and it was just the main road, and there's civilians that travel it and everything like that. I mean, it is what it is. But man, I love there are parts about Iraq and over there that were great. Like I love that the sand was like moon dust.
Yep.
You could kick it and it would float through the air. It was like baby powder. And because of that, it filtered the sunlight. So every morning you could literally watch the sunrise and not get blinded by the sunlight. It was like the beginning of fucking Lion King, just it was fucking beautiful, And fucking night sky, man, you're in the middle of the desert, no cities around, no light pollution. You couldn't see any black in the sky. It was fucking stars.
God.
Oh my
just like
God, dude.
like a
I was
nebula,
outside.
you know?
I was outside the minute I got into Afghanistan. I was outside, and my fucking ops sergeant major just walked up behind me, and he noticed what I was doing, and I was just staring at the sky in just fucking utter awe. And I just talked to him, you know, and he's a fucking sergeant major, and I'm like a fucking specialist or whatever, and he's just like, yeah, man, it's fucking amazing the way it looks when there's not a bunch of city
crazy.
Lights. It's fucking insane, dude.
Yeah, I've never seen a night sky like it.
Sky.
Yeah.
Holy shit, it's so beautiful. And it's so sad that those places of the world, I mean, and it's more fucked up when you think about the fact that it's because they don't have infrastructure, and it's because they can't build cities like that, and it's because of all of these political whatever. But God damn it, it's so fucking beautiful that they can't do that. And it's, you know, and the sky looks so awesome in the middle of the desert like that. And it's just, oh my God.
Well, it
I couldn't
reminds
believe
me.
it. And I'm an astronomy buff too, man. I'm a big fucking science guy, and I love that shit.
Yeah.
And I was literally just captivated, like drooling, like fucking looking up the sky, like, holy shit.
Yeah. It's like I step out of my truck when we'd stop to gas up, you know. The gun trucks were Humvees, so they'd run out of fuel, you know, a lot faster than our trucks. So we'd have to stop and, you know, and I'd fucking get out of my truck. We'd turn out all the lights in the middle of the night so nobody can see our convoy, 50 trucks long. All the lights go out. And I'd step out and I'm sitting there pissing, just looking up at the sky, just like I am whizzing on Mars. That's what this looks like. Like I'm just taking a piss on the surface of Mars. Look at all the stars. Look at the desert going on forever and ever. Like,
That's what we used to call it too. That's what we used to call the fucking sand out there. Was moon dust.
Yep, moon
There's
dust.
a couple of those places we call it fucking moon dust.
And it fucking gets everywhere when it gets wet. Holy shit.
Oh yeah, dude. Gets up in your taint and shit. Like
yeah, a little bit of
Try
rain.
cleaning it out of a cunt.
Oh God, I can't even
No thanks.
fucking imagine it. I can't even imagine. Oh fucking hell. Yeah, well, fucking But it was, you know, that's one thing they get wrong in the movies because they always film those places out in like a different desert.
They do it
And then it's like, where's the moon dust at? I don't know. Watching Matt Damon fly through the desert.
Why are you not all sandy?
Right? for anybody who wants to know what this is like, go get a 5-pound bag of flour and throw it on yourself.
Right?
Yeah, basically.
That shit is so fine, man. It really is. It's fucking. And then there's all those weird creatures over there. You know, fucking. I hated camel spiders. I shot one with a 9mm.
Yeah. Oh God, the.
I was like the fucking face hugger from Alien. Kill it.
I've never even seen one, and I have nightmares about them.
Yeah, they're fucking horrible.
They're terrible. They're fucking terrible. And I don't care what you try to fucking tell me that they can't bite or they're not real. But no, fuck you. They're scary looking, and they're probably going to eat my soul.
They put their front legs up, walk with the other 6, and they chase you because they're chasing your shadow to cool down.
Yeah, they do that.
So they'll chase your stupid ass around as long as you let them.
Oh yeah,
yeah.
So I think this is how we get to being called dumb jarheads. We used to capture them and have them fight each other.
Oh yeah, we did that too. You put them in the bottom of the trash bin and
my detachment.
make bets.
Are there videos of this?
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh yes. Oh yes. Oh yeah.
Lots of videos.
Betting on a camel spotter. We had one where we had him in a Tupperware dish and we dropped a cricket in there. God, that poor cricket.
Oh man, yeah.
It just fucking went both. It just went 2 ways. That cricket had no chance.
Oh yeah, they
just
grabbed
tore
it by the
apart.
center. It just literally
And they
ripped
just
it in
fucking
half.
sucked up the protein for the battle that they were having with each other. It was so demented.
They pick them up and sting them.
We did the same thing. We put a camel spider inside some sandbags, made a little fighting arena. You know, this is Sparta.
Right.
And we fucking put a camel spider in there, and we dropped one of them big black scorpions in there.
Yeah.
Oh,
And that fucking camel spider destroyed that big black scorpion.
Hell yes.
However,
It's got no chance.
what I learned is the smaller the scorpion, the more dangerous.
Yeah.
And so after the black scorpion, we dropped in this little pale, little albino scorpion that was teeny tiny, you know. And I picked him up by his tail, dropped him in there. That fucking camel spider went at it. It went, whoop! That camel spider was dead.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
That is one poisonous ass fucking scorpion.
Yep.
And you weren't touching it.
Mm-mm. Fuck that. I learned my lesson. And my fucking sergeant was like, the smaller they are, the more deadly. Don't pick that fucking thing up again.
Yeah, no shit.
It was like see-through, too. You can see it's like heart inside of it and shit.
You learned how fucking dangerous it was to put it in there in the first place.
You know how women have the hip to waist ratio? Well, scorpions have the
size to deadliness ratio.
No, they have the claw to stinger ratio. The claw will be smaller, but they'll have a bigger stinger with worse poison.
Yep.
Smaller the claws, the worse the poison is.
Because those giant, big old scorpions, they don't have to poison anything. They're like the kings of their domain. They just grab whatever they want, tear it apart with its giant claws, you know?
True.
Fucking get the teeny tiny little scorpions. They're like, I will kill you. I will kill you. It was a little terrorist scorpion, man. He was like, Allah Akbar, sting, fucking dead.
First time I went on a detachment, they would throw the bigger black scorpions at me and then laugh maniacally when I freaked out. They would do this for like a week fucking straight. I mean, and I thought it was just a hazing thing. And then one of them actually finally pulled me aside and said, no, don't worry, man. It's the bigger ones are a lot safer. They're just fucking with you because you're new here.
Pretty much. Well, so it's just a hazing thing.
I would have rather had a scorpion thrown on me than what my guys did to me for hazing. They smurfed me.
Ooh.
I was sitting in an outhouse, you know, the fucking porta johns.
Uh-huh.
And it's blazing hot, 126 degrees. I'm in there with my body armor on, taking a shit, sitting on the toilet, and it's got that blue water down in it. Yep. And then all of a sudden I hear my boys drop a rock down the chimney. Splash! Right into my ass.
Oh, man.
That's
fucking bad.
Boiling hot Smurf water just all over my ass. Oh, it hurt. Oh, it was like boiling shit water. And my ass was blue for like a fucking week.
They do something similar to people in construction.
They said
with
tip
porta
it over.
potties.
Yeah, at least they didn't tip it over.
They do that.
They have done that. There's video evidence of that.
I always tell this story. This one's a good one. All the nasty, dirty, filthy shit drawn on walls in the bathrooms. You know, dicks and all kinds of shit, right?
The shit house porn.
Yeah, the shit house porn, man, baby. And then, but what always stuck out to me was the shit that just didn't belong. Because I went in to take a piss. I'm standing at the urinal and I look up on the wall and there's all these dicks and everything. But right there in the middle, it said Toy Story 2 was okay. The fuck?
It's amazing.
I don't know why that one always stuck with me. You know?
You gotta get used to the cocks.
That's a hell of a movie review.
Yep.
And then my second favorite was when I sat down to take a shit and I closed the door and written on the back of the door it said, "Sit up at attention, soldier. You're giving birth to an officer."
Oh, yeah, I've seen that one. Oh my god, I've seen that one. That's awesome.
There really is just something about military culture, though, that I fucking love. When my dad went back in active duty, we moved to Panama, Central America. He was deployed down there for about 2 years, and I got to live on base and go to school there and all that sort of thing. And honestly, I miss being immersed in military culture. The people were so incredible. It was amazing. There's no humor quite like fucking soldier humor. Jesus Christ, man, out of control.
Yeah, dude, it's because, and I think it's because, you know, all of these people, as different as they are, they come together and they find commonality, and they find you know, they find commonality in humor, they find commonality in all of these different things, and they realize that they're not so different from one another, and you know, and they find it for so long that they find that they can take it pretty fucking far. They can take it pretty far and not offend one another.
Dude,
Dude, you guys have fucked up cadences in Boot?
Oh, fuck yes.
If you don't know,
we had the best one killing baby seals.
We had the S&M man.
Up jumped the monkey from the coconut grove. He's a bad motherfucker, you can tell by his clothes. Lined 100 whores up against the wall. Made a $2 bet that he could fuck 'em all. Fucked 98 and his balls turned blue. Then he backed off and jacked off and fucked the other two.
running through the market to the Haji shop. Nobody?
We would run around base singing that shit. We would run around base singing that shit. You know, clubbing baby seals was an Alaskan one because it was so close to the Arctic. You know, we would talk about clubbing baby seals to piss off all the
wives
fucking
and kids. They hate me.
You know,
killing
or
the babies.
or you know, we had a couple of dominatrix ones where we fucking had, you know, wives sticking their stiletto heels into our balls and shit like that. And
the Jody cadences where Jody goes to war and then comes back and kills someone.
Oh, yeah. So, my favorite was the one from Heartbreak Ridge. if I can Model A Ford and a tank full of gas, handful of pussy and a mouthful of ass.
Yeah, buddy.
Oh, that's just how you do sex, though. You know what I'm saying? You know, I mean, fucking, you know.
Well, one of my favorite things about military culture is just how you kind of just become brothers and sisters. And like we had a troop in our group, fresh out of basic, who was an ex-Klan, and he had joined the Klan. He had joined the military to get away from his small southern town, and his father was Klan, and his grandfather was Klan, and he had the tattoos and everything. And they let him in the military. His best friend ended up being a black staff sergeant.
Yeah.
You know, after serving together in war. That's how you destroy fucking racism right there.
My first platoon sergeant, get this shit. My first platoon sergeant, I shit you not, was a black Muslim. He was a black Muslim who had a fucking, who had this fucking most ornate golden grill. He had a fucking grill in his teeth. I'm not shitting you. And he was amazing.
Was his last name Glass? Because I had one just like that.
No, his last name was Gaiman. And he would absolutely fuck us up for just the smallest things. And you know, it's where this is where I think this is where I got into the whole social justice thing and how the military is being taken over by it and shit like that, because I realized it later on in my career, since this guy was my first platoon sergeant, is this guy was just the devil to us. But we learned why he was and the importance of him playing that role, because really it's about presenting you with adversity. And this was something that I tried to get across to people as an NCO when I was constantly attacked for being too gruff with the soldiers, too hard on the soldiers, and all that shit. Yeah, I was constantly attacked by that shit. But you know, I tried to explain to these people, I'm like, look, this is presenting them with adversity and how to stand up to it. Yeah. This is presenting them with an enemy. That's really what an NCO is.
You really want a story of how much the social justice thing infected the fucking military?
I got some for you, but I'll save it.
I was getting good and ready to get out. I was, I don't know, a couple months pre the end of my enlistment, and I had a guy who had never deployed, who was he's that guy. And if you were ever in the military, it's that guy that his shoes are never tied right, his uniform's never on right. He's just a fucking idiot, right? And that guy, if you were an NCO, you fucking know that guy because he made your life miserable. And so I find out on a field op that, like, probably one of my last field ops, that this guy is A, about to go to Afghanistan, and B, has never dug a Ranger grave. And I was like, are you fucking with me? This is not a thing. So he does something fucking stupid. And so I drag him out to the middle of a fucking field. And I'm like, bitch, you're digging one. You're digging one right now. And you're going to dig it to fucking regs. And you're going to fucking be able to be safe in this fucking thing. And no bullshit, a sergeant major showed up and went, motherfucker, I should charge you with hazing. And I was like, are you fucking kidding me? This is literally going to save his life. And didn't matter if he was digging a hole and it was in any way related to punishment, then it was hazing and I should be charged.
I was wondering when somebody would bring this up. Have you guys heard of the stress
Oh,
cards?
I got one for you.
Stress cards and boot camp.
Stepfather.
Oh,
It's
fuck.
not
Hello?
real.
Oh, shit.
It's not real.
Have you heard about that?
Yeah, everybody's
Yes,
heard about
it
it.
doesn't exist, man. It's not real.
No.
My stepfather told me this story. He was deployed at the tail end of the Korean conflict. And he was growing up. He was a very racist individual. He had that beaten out of him by the military. I fucking thank the military.
Yeah, they'll do
for
that.
Yeah, I fucking thank the military for that. And literally, this was punishment for chasing down a black kid and doing some fucking inhumane shit to him. Okay, he had a staff sergeant take him for doing that. He had a staff sergeant take him, and he just took him out into the middle of nowhere. He was like, all right, I need a hole. I need a hole 6 by 6 by 6.
Oh, yeah.
Which means 6 inches wide, 6 inches long, 6 inches deep. Dig it. And he worked for an entire day. And the next day, he managed to be done. He went and grabbed the guy. He said, all right, done with your hole. Here it is. The guy went up to it, looked at it, and said, spit in the fucking hole. And he said, now bury it.
Oh, fuck.
Inches, not feet? Because 6 inches
Guess
ain't
what?
shit.
He didn't have a fucking choice.
Yeah, I
he
think
didn't
he
have
meant
a
feet,
fucking argument in the world.
No,
he didn't have anywhere to go on this. Guess what the options he had were? To fucking bury it.
Right.
That's what his fucking options were.
Well,
and he had to bury it.
It's that, or get just straight the shit kicked out of you for a while.
Yeah.
Oh no, I had that too. I had my fucking head smashed into a locker and a brick wall. And fucking, it's
there's some shit you don't get.
None of that compares. Yeah.
Puddles. You're gonna get fucking put in your place, is what the point is.
Yep.
Absolutely.
Well, gentlemen and ladies, this
is about the right
is
time.
out. Yeah,
we're gonna start.
I'm about to have to head out. So, yeah.
Do you want to? We'll give it to you first, Magog. Like, since we started the whole thing to talk about PTSD. Any parting words that you want to instill?
No, yeah. If you are a veteran and you have PTSD, there's help, and outside the VA, there's a lot of there's a lot of personally funded and privately funded things that are happening. Go to your churches, go to your community centers, and find help online too. There's a lot of veteran, forums and chat rooms and things like that where you can talk to other veterans. And if you have a problem, reach out. And if that's not your thing, at least hopefully you find your way. And I wish you all the best.
I wish you the best as well, sir. Thank you very much.
If anybody else wants to add anything, please, by all means. Otherwise, we'll just wrap up.
If you can do nothing... Oh, sorry.
Sorry, my bad, Sevvie. I kind of have to go because my phone's about to die, but I want to plug in somebody. Bet TV on Facebook, I think they run their shit from. They're doing kind of like YouTube videos and shit aimed at vets, and it's just that gallows humor that reminds you that we're not fucking World War II veterans anymore. We're fucking this 2000 past war veterans, and we're a whole different generation, and we're pretty fucked up compared to how they were back in the day. So go check them out. They make some pretty good videos, hilarious shit. Of course, Mercedes Carrera, the patron saint against veteran suicide. She's the best. She loves all the vets. And ever since that one dude blew his brains out outside the VA clinic, the VA's gotten a lot better. So that's about it for me. You guys, nice talking to you. Thanks for having me, Jab.
Thanks for coming on.
Yep.
Thank you, brother.
Good night.
How about you, Sev?
Jamie, you were about to say something.
Sorry, what, man?
Jamie was about to say something.
Oh.
She's
I think
still muted.
I think
Oh,
I think he was
What's
saying. I
up?
think he was saying you, Sevvie.
Oh, hi. Yeah. Very few people call me Jenny these days. Sorry. Yeah, the one thing I wanted to say was, if you can do nothing else for veterans, know that if there's a veteran you know, the best thing you can do is be able to listen to their stories, no matter how difficult they may be, because part of what's troubling them is their inability to communicate those stories welcomely. The biggest thing I've seen in all veteran assistance is you can't tell these stories to people in the VA, let alone anyone personal to you. And telling these stories ends relationships. It ruins these things. And what you just got to do is recognize this person went through something absolutely horrific, but you don't have to go through it with them. You just have to sit there and let them get it out.
Absolutely.
Yep.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I agree with that 100%.
One last thing before we end it, just to remind everybody that nobody here condones Russian Deadpool's actions because he had post-traumatic stress disorder. It is just a motive for it that we think is possible, and knowing about it and bringing awareness to the issue could possibly stop something like this from happening.
So,
Yeah, absolutely.
I actually have a couple of things to say.
Yeah, please, by all means.
One, your vet centers, those little counseling things in all of your towns, they are all staffed by combat veterans. So for everybody who doesn't want to talk to a counselor because they're never going to understand, you have to be a combat veteran at a vet center to be a counselor. If you're not there yet, and all you can do is drink to feel better, drink at the VFW, where at least you will have your brothers.
Yeah.
Huh.
Say that.
All right. Well, I think if that's it, thank you guys so much for coming on. Thanks for sharing. Did you want to say something, Jay?
Oh yeah. I'll give a couple parting words. You know, and it's really difficult for us to talk. And like I said in my super chat, you know, that I tried to record a video multiple times, and it's just it's weird. You know, the internet's weird. But you know, you try to talk to people about this in your life, and you really do lose friends. You really do get people that look at you cockeyed when you talk about these things. They look at you like you're a fucking sociopath, you're an absolute fucking maniac for talking about these issues. And it's absolutely, it's one, degrading, and it's two, really demoralizing and really off-putting, and it really makes you want to not talk about these things anymore. And that's not, you know, and I have an amazing social worker down here in Sacramento, and he's a
California?
He's a great guy. Yeah, I'm in California, believe it or not. I'm trying to get the hell out of California.
Aren't we all?
Like
I'm in Sacramento. Hang out after, and I'll give you my fucking number.
Fuck yes, dude. I will absolutely do that. And you know, it's about, you know, and what I would say to people looking at this, what I would say to people watching this is, don't take the term PTSD to mean fucking sociopath or some shit or some fucking crazy person, you know. And I've literally, after the military, I had a guy who was a long-time friend of mine. He was a gay guy that I knew in high school. And I say gay guy because that's most of his presence. If you hang out with him after fucking 10 minutes and you don't know that he's gay, that there's something wrong with him. That's what we usually say, because he was always talking about ass fucking or something at least 10 minutes into his conversation. I swear to God, he was one of those annoying gay guys. And he would say, you know, we would talk about, you know, shooting guns and stuff like that, because I'm a pretty pro-gun guy. I like my guns. I like to shoot guns and shit like that. And he was like, dude, I'm scared to shoot guns around you. I'm like, why? And he's like, I don't know. I feel like you would get mad at me. And I'm like, you know, I thought about it for a second. I'm like, you're kind of right, because we're probably some of the most safety-conscious people in the world. We know what they do to people. We've seen people get shot. We've seen bullets, like, how they tear people apart. And, you know, I'm the first person on the range to slap somebody upside the head if they flag somebody, slap somebody upside the head if they fucking point a weapon in an unsafe direction, and it's really, to say that we're just these absolute sociopaths, and that's I think is the number one thing, the number one problem that people have seeing people with PTSD is that it manifests itself into this crazy murderous person, and it's just not that. There are also people with PTSD that don't want to see people hurt, and there are people that are extremely pro-gun like myself who, as pro-gun as I am, don't let that barrel flag somebody. Don't point that barrel at another human being. Just don't do it around me, and that's really the kind of person that I am. And it's, just don't think about us as people that are that are crazy, and all we want is to kill other people and to be in sustained combat with other fucking countries or whatever shit like that. That's just not the case. That's not who we are.
Absolutely.
That's not, that's not what those experiences have lent themselves to be. So we're not insane.
Right on.
I mean, we all snap. I mean, I've fucking snapped probably fucking 10 times by now. But that doesn't mean that I'm gonna kill everybody. And that doesn't mean that we're all gonna kill everybody. And that doesn't mean that we're not, in some ways, safer people around dangerous things in dangerous situations.
Yeah.
It just means that we've seen some shit. It just means that we've seen some shit, and we know how it affects people, and we know how detrimental it can be to people and society.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely. No, a lot of compassion. Well, a little compassion can go a very long fucking way. And understanding is something that you can't even put a price on how valuable it can be to the right person, at the right time. I want to thank everybody for coming on, sharing your stories, guys. It's absolutely wonderful. Thank you so much. I just wanted to give a platform. You guys took the platform and you made this an incredible stream. So thank you very, very much.
Thank you, Jeff.
Yeah, thanks for having me on.
Thank you.
Absolutely. And I guess rest in peace, Ivy. Everybody go out there, try and have a better day. And I don't know, give somebody that you otherwise wouldn't a smile, and we'll see you next time. Bye, everybody.
Bye, Jeff.